Today's video is going to be a little bit different from what you're used to. Today we are just going to do my eyes because I'm going to do like a throwback tutorial, but it's going to be a dupe tutorial. So we are going to be duping the Natasha Denona Mini Metropolis with the Sheglam Glitz Wiz. I'm going to put the 5 shades for the Mini Metropolis next to 5 shades that I think in here are very comparable to it, because I don't have the actual big Metropolis to dupe this with because I don't really like this color story, to be honest. This does not inspire me. This gives me anxiety, honestly. So that's why I don't have the big Metropolis. This is something I can definitely see myself getting rid of in the future. But it is what it is. I have it. I figured I would go ahead and dupe it. I found these shades in this palette, so I thought it'd be fun to do a dupe tutorial since I'm actually trying to get use out of this palette before I decide if I'm going to declutter in my next declutter series or not. And I have some dips, not a lot though. I'll be using the Jason Wu Beauty for this, so here we go. I have other things to do, so I'm not gonna keep this eye look on. I just wanted to get this video done and over with because I have a makeup and mystery to do for season 2. I have just a lot. Denona eye, and then this eye can be the Sheglam eye. So I'm just going to show you guys the look that I always do. So I always start off with this light brown from the Metropolis palette. It's called, I can't really say, Corrode, I think is what it's called. I think. Don't quote me on that. But I usually start off with this as the transition shade for my crease. Shade I think I'm going to pick is this one here, and it's called Queen is Dead. So we're going to try this one because I actually think this is the lightest brown I can get, but I still don't think it's the exact shade because I don't think that that shade is in the Metropolis palette, but I'm hoping that it will give a similar vibe. This shade is obviously very more cool tone, and this one is more warm tone. I'm sure you can see it on my eyes. But the next shade that I go in with is this shade here, which is called Rope. But like I said, I'm just trying to do the look that I always tend to do with the Mini Metropolis since I'm very limited to what I have from the Mini Metropolis since I don't actually have the Natasha Denona Big Metropolis palette. It makes it very similar to this one in my opinion. This eye is just more pigmented because there's 2 shades, whereas this one is not. The shade that I thought was very comparable, I think it was this one. It was this shade here, which I believe is called Cream. And it's not a cream to powder formula because I'm not a fan of the cream to powder formula. I actually cannot remember the YouTuber that I heard, but I was watching a declutter and there was a YouTuber who was like, I'm not really a big fan of Natasha Denona's cream to powder formulas. I'm not either because for some reason she makes darker shades, her cream to powders, and I always go lightest to darkest. Sometimes, very rarely will I go darkest to lightest. So it just makes it very, very, very hard. Like, yeah, the look I get is beautiful. It just makes the look that I'm trying to go for hard to get because of the cream to powder. Like the end result is very hard to get. The next shade I'm going to go in with is this shade here, which is called Bowl, which is the darkest brown matte. And always what I do is I place this on the outer edge of my eye. One was comparable, I think it was this shade here, which I believe is called Fusion. So this shade here is what I'm going to use. I actually think this is a cream to powder. Yeah, that's a cream to powder. So wish me luck, because the shade in the Mini Metropolis is not a cream to powder. It's a creamy matte. I think you can definitely see the difference. You can see the difference. The shade that I'm going to go in with next is Jubilee. This is the only reason that I have this palette. It's because I love this shade so much. It's honestly one of my favorites. If I could take it out, I don't think you can take out the minis. It would. No additional product. It's a very clean crease brush to blend everything together. The shade I thought was comparable was this one because it leans more blue. And it's the shade Curry. So that is the shade that we are going to go with. I look ridiculous. I hate this Sheglam palette so much, but I'm trying to give it some more airtime on my channel just because I do have it and I did spend the money, so I am trying to give it some airtime. But I definitely don't think that it's a dupe for Natasha Denona whatsoever. Shade here, which is called Blaze from the mini Metropolis, and I always put it right here. I always find another shade that's like a matte bone white to put on my brow bone, but you can kind of see that the eye primer kind of makes it perfect. So, the shade that I found in this palette is this shade here. Is it? Yeah, it's that shade. It's this shade here, which I believe is called Brit Pop right here, which I have not used this shade, so we shall see how it works. I don't know why this is not working. Like, you're plugged in. Okay, so that's pretty comparable. So I don't like this palette. I would prefer the mini Metropolis over this. But again, I'm very biased because I don't really enjoy the color story of this palette, but it is what it is. It's not a dupe whatsoever. You can definitely see the difference in my eye looks. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm going to end the video here. Let me know which one you guys prefer. Would you prefer this on a budget, or would you prefer to pay the $20-something and get something like this if you like this kind of like grungy, greeny Christmas look? Anyways, I'm going to end the video here. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. See you in the next one. Bye, guys.